Forget the shuriken, forget the katana. We've been told the ninja was a master of stealth and assassination, but that's not the whole story. The truth is far more unsettling. The ninja's deadliest weapon was never made of steel. It was forged in silence, honed through brutal mental conditioning, and designed to break an enemy's mind long before their body. This isn't just about how ninjas fought. This is about the dark psychology that made them unstoppable. We're going into the shadows of feudal Japan to uncover the psychological training that turned ordinary men and women into living weapons. We'll explore the forgotten manuals and lost arts that taught them not just to kill, but to control, manipulate, and dominate the human mind itself. This is the story of how the mind became the ultimate battlefield. What if the most powerful weapon of the legendary ninja wasn't their sword, but their mind? Before a ninja ever learned to scale a castle wall or vanish into the night, they first had to conquer the fortress inside themselves. This wasn't about being brave. It was about cultivating a state of absolute indifference. A core principle for this, laid out in historical manuals like the Bansen Shukai, was achieving seishin, or a right mind. This had nothing to do with morality. It was about achieving an unwavering calm that could withstand torture, terror, and the stress of deep cover missions. It was said that a ninja with a right mind wouldn't flinch even if a bare blade was pressed against their chest. So, how did they build this mental armor? Through brutal, ascetic discipline. Meditation was a cornerstone, used to sharpen focus and achieve profound inner peace. Ninja would practice for hours, learning to control their breathing to the point of appearing lifeless. A skill that could save them during a hasty inspection. They undertook grueling fasts, endurance training in harsh weather, and solitary retreats into nature to build mental toughness. This connection to nature was vital. By observing wildlife and natural patterns, they honed their senses to an almost superhuman degree, able to notice the faintest movements and anticipate danger. This was the deliberate, systematic destruction of the ego. The goal was to erase fear, desire, and hesitation, replacing them with a cold, calculating machine capable of perfect execution. Through this spiritual crucible, the ninja's mind was transformed from a liability into their most resilient weapon. Mastering your own mind is one thing, but how do you penetrate the most secure fortress of all, the human mind? Once a ninja controlled their inner world, they turned their focus outward, learning to dissect and manipulate the psyches of others with terrifying precision. This was the art of Kyojitsu Tenkan, or the interchange of falsehood and actuality, a sophisticated system of psychological warfare. Ninjas were the original social engineers. They understood that the easiest way to get past a castle's defenses was to be invited right inside. They were masters of disguise, not just in their clothes, but in their entire character. A ninja could become a humble merchant, a devout priest, or a charismatic performer, adopting a role so completely they could earn anyone's trust. They meticulously studied their targets, learning their habits, weaknesses, fears, and desires. This deep psychological profiling allowed them to exploit emotions like greed or ambition to turn allies into enemies and extract secrets without ever drawing a weapon. Their methods were subtle but devastating. They would spread carefully crafted rumors to sow dissent and paranoia within an enemy clan. They manipulated information, creating false appearances and feeding disinformation to lead their opponents into catastrophic traps. As meticulous observers, they could read body language, vocal inflections, and the subtle cues that betray a person's true emotional state, adapting their strategy on the fly. This wasn't just about lying, it was about manufacturing a reality for their target. Manuals like the Bansen Shukai describe how to use conversation and social skills to infiltrate any social setting, gather intelligence, and then vanish. They understood a fundamental human vulnerability. People trust familiar faces and overlook the unremarkable. By becoming a ghost in plain sight, the ninja could walk the corridors of power, listening, watching, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike at the mind, not the body. For the ninja, fear wasn't an emotion to overcome, it was a weapon to be wielded. They were masters of psychological warfare, architects of paranoia who knew that an enemy consumed by terror is already defeated. Their goal wasn't just to eliminate a target, but to destabilize entire clans by making leaders prisoners in their own minds. A ninja's reputation was their most powerful asset, and they cultivated it with chilling efficiency. They would stage mysterious deaths or leave behind cryptic warnings, turning every shadow into a potential threat. The mere rumor of a ninja operating in the area was often enough to paralyze an army with fear, causing soldiers to doubt their leaders and suspect their comrades. This was chaos by design. Their sabotage tactics were as much about psychological impact as physical damage. Arson wasn't just to destroy supplies. It was to create a spectacle of terror that would ripple through the enemy's ranks. They excelled at guerrilla tactics, using ambushes and hit-and-run attacks to keep their enemies perpetually exhausted and on edge. One documented tactic involved disguising themselves as enemy troops to intentionally cause confusion and friendly fire incidents. The key was their unpredictability. Because ninjas operated outside the samurai's rigid code of honor, their actions were seen as terrifyingly amoral. They were ghosts, striking from the darkness without warning. This anonymity amplified the horror. Was that strange noise outside just the wind, or a silent assassin waiting to strike? Is a friend's sudden illness an accident, or a slow-acting poison? The ninja made their enemies tear themselves apart, proving that the most effective siege is one laid against the mind. In the deepest shadows of ninjutsu lies a practice that blurs the line between psychology and the supernatural. The kuji-kiri, or 9-syllable cuts. These were a series of intricate hand gestures, or seals, each paired with a mantra, believed to grant the ninja extraordinary abilities, from heightened intuition to premonitions of danger. While legends credit the kuji-kiri with invoking divine power, its true strength was likely rooted in profound psychological conditioning. These rituals, derived from esoteric Buddhism, were a powerful form of self-hypnosis. By performing the seal for fearless or awareness, a ninja could instantly channel a desired mental state. Imagine being deep in enemy territory, heart pounding. The ninja would form a specific seal, visualize its meaning, and through disciplined practice, flood their system with focused calm, suppressing the body's natural fight-or-flight response. Modern science is beginning to shed light on these ancient practices. A study conducted by Japan's Mai University measured the brain waves of subjects performing kuji-kiri and found that alpha waves, associated with relaxed concentration, increased significantly, while beta waves, linked to anxiety, plummeted. The research suggests kuji-kiri induces a unique calm body, sharp mind state, the ideal condition for an operative needing to remain physically relaxed but mentally hyper-alert. To an outsider, a ninja using kuji-kiri to predict an attack or endure pain would seem supernatural. But the ninja knew they were simply unlocking the latent power of their own mind. The hand seals were the keys, and the mantras were the commands to a brain trained to obey without question. It wasn't magic, but the pinnacle of mental discipline, a way to weaponize belief into a tangible force. The same principles of mental resilience and psychological influence are still studied today by special forces, intelligence agencies, and leaders in every field. If you want to explore more timeless strategies from the world of warrior psychology, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. So the next time you picture a ninja, don't just see the black mask and the silent blade. See the master psychologist, the social engineer, the architect of fear. Their true art wasn't just sneaking into castles, but sneaking into the mind itself. They proved that information is a more potent weapon than steel, that perception is more vulnerable than any fortress wall, and that fear can break an army faster than any sword. The legacy of the ninja is a dark and powerful reminder that the greatest battles aren't fought on a field, but in the 6 inches of space between our ears. Because in the end, the most dangerous weapons are the ones you can't see.